Back with Bobby and JG Radio. We have Mr. Tony Ramos of the law offices of Tony Ramos here in the studio. I want to say thank you, sir, for hanging out with us.
Glad to be with you.
This is the only time that I want to have verbal correspondence with you because you have a very, very specified niche in law.
I do.
That I want to avoid immensely.
You should.
Let's talk about that. What's your niche?
I help people who owe money to the IRS
Yikes.
and can't pay it back.
Gulp.
And so we do workouts.
You just work it out.
Work it out one way or the other.
And so, what tell us about your law firm? You're here in San Antonio locally?
Yes, I actually am from Laredo, but
so is Bobby.
Oh, no, I'm not.
Really? 4 years ago, I moved to San Antonio because my two sons, one daughter-in-law and two grandchildren didn't want to come back to Laredo.
Shocker.
So, yep. So moved here, and I actually sold my immigration law practice a couple of years ago, and decided to take this on because for 12 years, from 1989 to 2000, I did bankruptcy work.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those clients had IRS problems.
For sure. And so you really started to get into it at that moment?
And so I decided to go back to something I already knew. Actually, I've never stopped helping clients that owe money to the IRS since 1989.
Right.
Although the focus in Laredo was immigration.
For sure, just because it's one of the
It's a
biggest
good
truck
market
import
for
in the world.
immigration, yeah.
Absolutely.
Tony, can you tell us what separates you from your competition?
Attorneys have a bad reputation for not
Really?
returning phone calls. Yeah. Clients get upset because they don't update them, make them wait in the waiting room. And I think I'm a little bit different in that I hate to make people wait in the waiting room more than 5 or 10 minutes. I return my calls promptly. My clients can always speak to me. And I think that's a little bit different than a lot of attorneys.
Definitely different than most attorneys. And I know a lot of attorneys in my own family, and I couldn't even say they could do that stuff. So let's talk about some scenarios here. Sorry, Dad. Let's say that Bobby owes the IRS. So these are questions coming from Bobby, by the way.
I can help you, Bobby.
What powers does the IRS have to start collecting these taxes that he's just piling up?
I like to tell people that the IRS is probably the most powerful collection agency you'll ever encounter. They can even take your house away.
They can take.
Yeah, but it's not that common. Typically, they'll go after your wages, do wage garnishment, or they'll take money out of your bank account. That's the two most common ways that we see the IRS getting their taxes paid.
But if you have a homestead on your home, then they can't take your home away. Is that correct?
That's not correct.
That's not correct.
No, in Texas, it's very hard for a creditor to get your home unless they're the lien holder or taxes. But the IRS can take your home away, even though in the whole United States, there's probably not more than 500 property seizures. So it's
rare.
Yeah, it's rare. But
you got to make
possible.
them real mad.
Yeah, but what's not rare is taking your wages and taking your bank account.
They freeze your bank account.
Not only freeze it, they take money out of it.
Wow. What else can they take, Tony?
Well, they can
Your
they can take a lot, but it's like all creditors. They go for the low hanging fruit. And so you've got cash.
So for Bobby, that's a tricycle.
If they got cash in your bank account or you're getting a paycheck, that's what they go for most of the time.
My Swedish account or my American account?
If they know about your Swedish account.
Okay, I'm good.
You haven't even been outside of like Cancun. All right.
I hope the IRS isn't listening to this.
If they did, they'd be chuckling. So, what can you do for Bobby to work out like a solution that like wouldn't just ruin him financially?
Well, there's sometimes there's a number of things you can do. Kind of the gold standard is offer in compromise, where you don't pay what you owe, you pay what you can afford to pay. And
they're good with that?
Well, if you qualify, yeah. They have to be convinced you can't pay it back because there's like a 10-year statute limitations on the IRS to collect. And so if they're running out of time and they don't think you can pay, then they'll do a combination of the net value of your assets and either 12 or 24 months of income left after reasonable living expenses. So that's kind of the gold standard. And then there's something called a partial payment installment agreement where you pay what you can afford until the clock runs out on the IRS. In both of those cases, you don't pay back everything you owe. I had a client that owed about $70,000. He had cancer. He was near retirement age, and we settled it for $500. No, that's not common, but he qualified for the offer in compromise.
So if I owed him $200,000 last year for taxes because I didn't pay my quarterly income taxes, what do you think I can get it
You
negotiated down
should
to?
get cancer, Bob.
There's no way I can tell you until we do an analysis of your financial
Yeah, this
condition and
is
your
not
ability to pay.
freelegaladvice.com right now.
Okay.
We're trying to do a radio show.
But typically most people
I'll
have
cut
to
him a
do
check.
some kind of a payment arrangement. That's the more typical approach. Although I have a client right now that we're trying to get what's called currently not collectible status, which they leave you alone for a year or two until you get back on your feet. And that's, I guess, the next best thing.
Don't leave Tony. Bobby's obviously in a lot of trouble if he's asking these kind of questions. So we're going to ask you a bunch more. If you want some more information about this attorney, you can go to trramoslaw.com.
TonyRamosLaw.com.
TonyRamosLaw.com. You can also email him at tonyramos@trramoslaw.com. We're going to take a quick break, talk to our show sponsors. Be right back.